to another Amazing Loser video interview. And today we're speaking with Graham War. I'm going to pronounce that wrong. Is it War or War?
No, that's it. It's War.
Yeah,
That's correct.
I can't do it in your accent though, Graham. And Graham, how old are you?
I'm 45 years old.
45. And I mean, we've got an incredible story to tell everyone, because obviously your story is full of all sorts of twists and turns, but also it's the sheer scale of what you've achieved which makes it incredible, and also kind of the resolution that you've got after that. I mean, just give us a bit of background. Can you tell us how much you used to weigh?
I used to weigh 52 stone at
Right.
my highest.
Yeah.
Um,
And at various points you've actually been kind of, it's a strange title, but Britain's fattest man, haven't you?
well, I was one of them.
Mm.
The, when there was a programme on called, what was it called now? Britain's Fattest Man, and he was 50 stone.
Mm.
Well, at that time, I was 52 stone, but
Mm.
nobody knew
Mm.
my story.
Yeah.
So, what I'm trying to do with what I'm doing in the future is I'm trying to reach out to the people who are indoors that nobody knows about, and I want to try and reach out to them and show them, look, it can be done. Don't just wait for death.
Yeah. And what was the genesis of your story? How did you get up to being 52 stone? Because obviously, in many ways, it takes quite a lot of effort to reach that level.
Yeah, what happened was I was taken back a removal van that we had hired, and I had to walk up a steep hill on the way back. And when I got to my door, my heart was palpitating, and I felt shaky, and that was the start of it. So I didn't want to go in case I was going to have a heart attack. And I became a recluse. And the more that I stayed indoors, the more I couldn't go out. The more depressed I got, then anxiety set in, and then I didn't want anybody to see me. I tried to ignore phone calls from family and friends. If a friend come over to visit, I would be rude to them so they wouldn't want to come back to me. I was just a total recluse, and I just kept eating and eating, and the one thing that was on my mind is food. It was the only thing that made me happy.
Excuse me, that's my phone charge.
The way I see it is food is used as a celebration. You know, if you've got to take your girlfriend or your wife out, you'll take them out to dinner. You know, if you've got to celebrate a birthday, you take them out to dinner. So, you know, I felt that was my only outlet, was to have food, a takeaway. And once I'd finished my lunch, I would be worrying about what's for tea.
Yeah.
And it would be a vicious circle. And that's how I got bigger. And I just got bigger and bigger and bigger. And then where us men and women have a underbelly, mine just dropped one day. And I thought, oh, what's that? And it created like lymphedema inside. And it just started swelling and swelling. And the bigger I got, the more reclusive I got. And it reached down to the top of my socks. I couldn't sit with my legs shut. My legs were forced open all the time. I could actually, in bed, I could lay on my back and sit my belly next to me, lie my belly next to me. That's how big it was. And I think I'd sent you a picture of my belly, which I'm happy for you to use on your website. And I just became so reclusive. And that went on for 15 years. And the only person that knew in my family, I mean, my mother knew that I was overweight, but she didn't know the scale. The only person that knew was my older brother. He was like 2 years older than me. I had told him the truth.
And what was his reaction?
He was like, you just need to get your weight off. He was worried about me.
And
And then
what did that, I mean, because I think a lot of our readers have been in a similar situation where they've had someone express concern about their weight and worry about it. How did that make you feel?
to be honest with you, I didn't feel at all. Um,
Mm,
I didn't think about it. I didn't.
mm,
It was like avoiding the elephant in the room.
mm.
Pardon the pun. But they would, he would give me, you need to get your weight off and that, and I'd be like, yeah, 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 whatever.
Mm,
And all I'm thinking about is right, getting them off the phone and then getting my
mm,
food, uh, and that consumed my whole life.
mm,
It was food and fizzy juice every. I had a can of fizzy juice at least one every half hour. I had a cigarette at least one every half hour. I was smoking 80 cigarettes a day.
good grief.
Uh, and
I mean, do you look back now? I mean, as you're telling me this now, and I know how much you've changed. Does it just sort of shock you that where you were and what you were doing?
it's like I'm talking about somebody else.
Yeah,
It's weird. I
yeah,
can't explain it. I
mm,
just can't explain it. I'm now the man that I always wanted to be. I've
brilliant.
got more confidence now than I have ever had in my
Mm,
entire life. I used to, even when I was 18 years old, and 18, 19, I was about 19 stone.
mm,
I was always self conscious when I was walking into shops,
mm,
anywhere I go, because 19 stone back then um, was a big guy.
yeah,
But when I came out of this reclusive state
mm,
and started integrating with society again, I
mm,
cannot believe how many big people there are.
I know.
It is truly a bad, bad epidemic. It's went through the roof.
And I mean, let's just hone in on this because
Yeah.
you're 52 stone.
Hmm.
You're drinking an awful lot of fizzy drinks. You're smoking 80 cigarettes a day.
Yeah.
What was the point where that turned around? What made that difference? Because everyone's looking at, as you say, this epidemic of obesity, and saying, how do you reach those people? And what? But for you, what was it that actually caused that change to happen?
Yeah. Well, what happened with me when I had the only time that I did go out was we moved house,
Mm,
and I signed up to a new doctor,
mm,
and the doctor came out and weighed me, and he had these scales that go up to about 23 stone,
mm.
and I stood on it, and whizzed round twice, and he just says, "Oh, you're about 25 stone," and I was like, "Oh well, 25 stone isn't as bad as I thought." So I just ignored it.
Yeah,
Well, when my bottom belly, my underbelly dropped,
yeah,
and it got the lymphedema,
yeah,
I felt this crack along it, and I was just like picking at it. And what unfolded was this huge gaping wound, um, about 10 inches long,
mm,
and I could I could actually fit my hand inside this gaping wound, my
wow.
whole hand, and it leaked permanently, non-stop. It was dripping, dripping, dripping.
Blood?
So they had
Is
to
it
send
blood?
nurses in.
Blood that it was dripping, presumably.
Non-off fluid.
Like so the edema, is it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they sent nurses in to change the wounds. And I was talking to this nurse one day. Her name was Layla. And Layla said to me, just out of interest, what weight are you? And I says, oh, I'm 25 stone. And she was like, what? And I says, yeah, 25 stone. That's what the doctor says. And she says, I ain't been funny, but I think we should change doctors.
Mm,
And she said to me that there's a great doctors round the corner, and they are hip. They're young,
mm,
and they want to make sure everybody gets done. And I changed doctors. And when I changed doctors, the doctor said to me, go to the obesity clinic.
mm,
And I was about wary going. But around about the same time, the
mm,
same brother that I told
mm,
about the weight,
mm,
um, he died suddenly, a blood clot to his brain.
Mm.
And I thought to myself, you know, I'm such a selfish bugger. I'm sitting here feeding my face and giving up on life. I
Mm.
knew that I was just wasting a life.
Mm.
He didn't have a choice a day. And that's what spurred me on
Mm.
to go to the obesity clinic. And then when they told me that the scale actually showed 50 stone, but that's all it went up to. It actually went past that.
Mm.
And it was guesstimated that I was 52 stone.
Mm.
And then I kept going up there, and I just grit my teeth and I thought, you know, he didn't have a choice in that day.
Mm.
And since that day, I've been working hard to.
And so, I mean, give us an idea of timescale here, because I mean, you know, please you be the one to say, because I think it's worth you're allowed to say it. How much do you weigh now?
Just under 19 and a half stone.
So essentially, you've lost round about 34 stone.
Uh, yeah,
Yeah,
something like that.
yeah. Which I mean, kind of, we have a lot of viewers overseas as well. So a stone is £14 essentially. So it gives you some sort of scale of what you've achieved. Unreal
Yeah,
achievement. And I mean, how long has that taken?
it's true. Well, from I started going up to the obesity clinic, and I think it was 2010,
Mm.
and it's, you know, it's been like 5 years so far.
Mm.
Now I want to just at this point, I'd like to make it clear that I had two bariatric surgeries.
Sure.
The first one was in July 2012,
Yeah.
and that was a gastric sleeve where they removed 90% of my stomach.
Mm.
They did that operation so that I could lose weight
Mm.
for a more permanent operation, and that was the duodenal switch. I don't know if you've heard of
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
And I was the first person to have that done on at the Luton and Dunstable Hospital.
Mm. And I'll put
Uh,
links to both procedures in the comments underneath, so people can get an idea of what it was that happened.
right. And in 2000, December 2013,
Mm.
I had lost enough weight to go and have the duodenal switch. I had that done. Oh, and when I had my sleeve done in July 2012, they actually did an apronectomy at the same time.
Mm.
And I think it was about 35 kilos that they cut off my stomach.
And an apronectomy, as I understand it, is where they take off the overhanging belly side of it, isn't it?
Yes, yes.
So it's essentially sort of removing the loose skin while there's still some fat there, but it's just sort of it tapers it in essentially.
Yeah, it gives me movement. They've taken it away so because it would have obstructed me, you know.
Mm.
When I was walking, it used to bounce off my legs.
Mm.
And it restricted me. So they cut that off so I wouldn't be as restricted.
Mm.
And it was the weirdest feeling because I went to sleep on the operating table with this. It felt like a heavy man sitting on my legs.
Yeah, I bet.
And when I woke up, it was gone.
Yeah.
I just couldn't believe it.
Yeah. But I mean, you know, I think, you know, as alongside the weight loss surgery, you know, you have. I asked you, and you said one of the ways that you lost weight was pure fighting spirit,
Yeah,
which I think is awesome. And you know, you've really worked hard to change your diet, to start exercising more, and really the weight loss surgery has kind of just been alongside the other things that you've achieved. Is the way I understand it.
yeah. Well, the weight loss surgery, the way I see it is, the weight loss surgery is a tool.
Mm.
Everybody thinks it's a silver bullet, and
Mm.
it isn't it. You have to work with it.
Mm.
I changed my diet completely,
Mm.
especially with the duodenal switch, because if I don't eat at least 100 grams of protein a day,
Mm.
I'll go into malnutrition.
Mm.
So you have to really work with it. And also, I promised my surgeon that because he had saved my life, both of them, Mr. Sujitra
Mm.
and Mr. Jain,
Mm.
and also Mr. Manure,
Mm.
they three saved my life, and I had said to Mr. Jane at the hospital that, you know, because you saved my life, I'm going to make sure that I do you proud, and I will pay it forward.
Yeah.
So I'm a man of my word, and I wanted to do it for my brother as well, and my family.
Yeah, because I was going to ask how this sort of, the change in weight has been impacted on you. Because you've got a wife and, is it 2 children?
Yeah, I've got 2 children, yeah.
And I mean, presumably they saw the scale of the weight gain and kind of where you were. How did they deal with you being a recluse, essentially?
Um, I, I don't know. To this day, I don't know. We just go into a routine, and I must say, I was like a Hitler. I was a dictator. I would emotionally blackmail them. You know, I had a bad back. I couldn't even walk to the kitchen. And I had them doing everything for me. And you know, when I look back, oh, I just can't believe the person I became. It was just the worst thing ever.
Sorry, presumably that was because your mobility was limited and you needed people to move around for you, essentially.
That's correct. And you don't see it at the time. And this is another thing I want to get out there is that, you know, the bigger you are, it seems like you'll use your family as many slaves, you know?
Yeah.
And it's horrible. It's horrible when you don't see it at the time, but you have an effect on your whole family. And not only that, is when you're eating rubbish from takeaways and things like that, they'll say, well, if you're getting a takeaway, you might as well all have it. So the family will get fat around about you.
Yeah.
And it has a ripple effect.
Yeah.
And it's the same when you come through the other end. When you start eating properly, it has a ripple effect. Your family start eating properly as well and losing weight.
So tell me about your children. How old are your children?
My son is 23, and he's studying computers at university. And my daughter, she's 20 and she's studying music at university.
So, I mean, they saw you, so from kind of like 15 to 17, that was how old they were when you were at your heaviest. And they've really lived through this transformation. How do they sum it up? What do they say about it?
Oh, I mean, they're proud. I mean, I think they've still got like I can have robbed them a parent for a long time. You know what I mean? There was one fridge magnet that we've got where my wife took them to a fun day, and it was just them and her, and it's just like looking at a picture of a single mother. So getting used to their dad running about and being more active and helping other people, they're shocked by it. You know?
Yeah. What about your wife? How does she see the difference?
Oh, I mean, everything. I try to, all the things that I took for her and taking her for granted, you know, doing the washing and making the dinner, going to the shops. You know, if we didn't have, she'd come in for like a hard day's work, and I'd say, "Oh, they're no peanut M&Ms," you know what I mean? And then she'd have to go to the shop and get them. And at the time, you're thinking, oh, "I want the peanut M&Ms. I can't live without the peanut M&Ms." But when you look back now, you think, "Jesus Christ, you selfish man," you know?
Yeah, yeah, completely. And it's just so difficult to get that kind of perspective, though, isn't it? Unless you have that experience that you did, or something happens to change the way that you are. Now,
Yeah.
I mean, let's finish off the interview by talking about, as you said to your surgeon, that you're a man who you wanted to pay it forward. And talk to me about some of your plans now, because you've got some incredible ideas, and we were talking about this at length yesterday about all the amazing things that you're doing, and it's you literally bubble over with enthusiasm when we're talking about it. But give me a sort of idea of what you want to create at this point.
Well, when I had my last operation, as soon as I healed, I joined the gym. And I think I sent you a picture of my first day at the gym, and you can use that as well.
Thanks.
And I was a big guy, but I stuck in it. And I says to myself, right, I'm going to go every day to the gym. And at first, the first couple of months, I went every day, 7 days a week. Some days I went twice a day. And that became my new addiction. But then I got burned out.
Yeah.
And I thought, right, I'll cut it back. So now, since January or February 2014, I've non-stop went to the gym 4 to 5 days a week.
And what do you do when you're there?
Well, for the first 6 to 8 months, all I did was the bike, the exercise bike. And what I would do is I could do it for 3 minutes at first. That's how that, and I was knackered. But I built it up every day. I said, right, I can do 3 minutes, can I do 4? And then I'd set myself goals like that.
Yeah.
And then it came to my mind that, you know, I've got this renewed confidence because I've got my apron off and I've lost a bit of weight. And I'm walking in here like Jack the Lad, you know, getting it. But normally, if I was that size without losing the apron, you know, I would have been a nervous wreck walking in that gym. And so I thought to myself, what if we created a gym just for overweight, obese and super obese people, where they could feel comfortable, a home from home. You wouldn't need to worry about how far you'd need to walk into the gym. We'd get a wheelchair that fitted them if you had to have a wheelchair. And I want to create a gym with a social aspect to it. Have Christmas parties, Eid parties, whatever. Doesn't matter your religion, because at the end of the day, we're all human beings and we're all fighting the same problem, obesity. So why not get together, you know, bring it off your line, like you're doing with your group. You've got it online, but you're going to set up meetings. Well, why not? There's such a huge community online. Bring it offline and, you know, or share it, but come into the community and work it together.
Yeah. And you're sort of now speaking to the NHS and to the obesity clinic where you sort of receive so much help.
Yes.
If we could just finish off, because I know that you're, to some respects, given, you know, the losing over 30 stone, it's not something that a lot of people would have experienced. But, you know, give us some advice. You know, all the guys on manvfat are men who want to lose weight. What say 3 pieces of advice, or what could you say to them that really would speak to them where they are at the moment?
I would say never say never, because I used to think people that said, oh, if I can do it, you can do it. But it's such, I used to hate people, but it's such a true statement.
Yeah.
I was the laziest, dirtiest, because sometimes I wouldn't even clean, person that ever was. When you see these super obese people on TV, that was me. So never say never. Now, the second piece of advice I give is go to the gym, come rain, sun, whatever. Go to that gym, because not only does it lift your spirits, whatever you do, you're doing more than what you are if you were sitting in your backside at home. So get to the gym at least 4 times a week. And I think reading labels is the last thing. Get used to reading labels on the back of tins and things like that, because a lot of diet stuff is worse for you than normal stuff. So because the hide, where they've lowered the sugar, they might have upped the carbs or whatever. There's a lot of hidden stuff.
Yeah.
So
and Graham, thanks ever so much for taking the time to talk to me today.
That's all.
I mean, what's great as well is that, if people want to get in touch with you, they can find you through the forum at manvfat.com. You're a member there, and you've been posting some amazing stuff there. And I just wanted to say thanks ever so much for talking to me. You're an inspiration, genuinely, and I wish you all the best with your future projects.
Thank you so much, Andrew. I really appreciate it.
No problem, Graham. Take care.